Couple of months back, one of my friends approached me because her son needed a speaker on mental health. I actually am very hesitant in accepting this because I'm not a medical practitioner. However, after understanding what exactly are needed by the students, I think I can add value. And in this video, we'd like to share with you how certain factors affect the mental health of students. And if these factors are there, so what? How can these factors affect their capacity to assimilate and learn using the new or through the new online environment? Third, now that that is already happening, what can students do? What can their teachers do, their guidance counselors do, so that the students become successful and is able to thrive in the new normal? Learn with us as we watch the video. Hi, this is Tina Shalson, your leadership coach and human capital consultant. My goal is to build better leaders for the next generation to come. Join me as we discuss your questions and develop your most empowered self. Let's proceed immediately na to our next slide. Let's look at the what. What factors affect people, specifically students' mental health in this pandemic situation? Regardless of country, regardless of race, no, there are only two: biology and experience. What do I mean? It is genetic. One of the things that affects mental health is our genes, no, and this one I am not an authority and I will not tackle that, no. The other one is actually experience, what we actually go through. And what did pandemic give us? This particular situation that we're in, this is all new to us. This experience is all new to us. In the recent past, sometime August, I actually had some focus group discussions with some students, no, and early careerists, no, and these students are either senior high school students or entry-level college students, such as yourselves, no, regarding a lot of things, including mental health. And I actually sifted 4 inputs and answers. Yes, it is affecting us, no, our mental health. This particular pandemic actually has been disrupted. The second thing that they gave actually is delays of plan. And I asked, what do you mean? As a student, especially college students, we already have plans that after this so much years, I will take up this test. After this, I will get my accreditation or my certification or my licensure. And then I'm going to work here. And then after so many years, I'm going to work in the United States. That was part of their plan, and all those have been affected by this pandemic. No? So they're very cognizant na, okay, this is not only the here and now, even my plans in the future may be affected. The third point here is passion versus practicality. A lot of them answer that I took up this course because this is my passion. This is what I want to become in the future, which is very good. No? However, they said it is now a question of passion versus practicality. What do they mean? I took up medicine because I want to be a surgeon in the future. But how do I now become a good surgeon if I'm doing it online? Quite frankly, wala akong nasagot. I was not able to answer that particular question. And thus, that's where the practicality is. Some of them were rethinking, should I shift courses wherein it will now complement the availability of learning options for me so I can still be competitive in the future market. And then the last is actually domino effect. It's actually, they were already thinking, the students were already thinking that then if I don't get to be educated well because my school it's not really good in online learning. They're still into learning how to give online learning. Then my competitiveness then may be lower. How do I now? This is where all the what ifs come in. How do I now? What if I don't become competitive in the marketplace? What if I don't get my certification? What if all the what ifs? So it has a domino effect, not only how things are happening now, but it has a domino effect on how he would progress his career in the future. This actually is a recent research that we've had, no, sometime middle of August, focus group discussion with some talents and with some careerists, specifically college students. So we said earlier what, and then now what? How does this affect us? Two things. Students are affected from their thinking well-being, and they're affected from their emotional well-being. When I say thinking well-being, their concentration, concentrating and paying attention becomes more difficult for them. No? Completing work or tasks, given it is an approach, an asynchronous scheduling approach. It's not a block time session. That's actually new and different. I'm not saying difficult. It's actually different for students. And thus, irrational fear and anxiety may set in. What do we mean by anxiety? Because everyone has anxiety, you and me included. However, if it is mounting and ongoing, persistent, and disruptive to the daily life of an individual, then it becomes an anxiety that you may want to take a look at because it's already affecting the mental health of the person. Now, I wanted to clear that and be very distinct about that because all of us has anxiety. No? It does not necessarily mean na, uy, anxious ako ngayon. Ako, baka may anxiety na ako. Baka may mental health imbalance na ako. That is not what I wanted to emphasize here. It's very, very important that that word, it's mounting, it's ongoing, it's becoming disruptive to the daily life of the person. That now becomes an anxiety from the angle of mental health or mental imbalance. But if it is anxiety or fear because, we are trying to get better, we're trying to learn something new, that's normal. Because all of us have that particular anxiety when we are introduced to something new, no? You call that, you are opening yourself to what you call the learning zone. You're opening yourself to your learning zone and stepping outside of your comfort zone. That's the reason why you're experiencing such. All right? So I just want to be very, very clear that a bit of anxiety there, a bit of fear here, does not necessarily mean I am mentally imbalanced, right? The second one is emotional well-being. That is also being affected, no, by this mental health and things that are happening out of this pandemic. Feeling of sadness, feeling of being overwhelmed, hopeless, and powerless. The talents or the students saying, I don't belong. Seems like I don't belong. I'm losing the feeling of belongingness. And this is too much for me. Thus, depression kicks in. Again, depression is a mood disorder that involves, operational word guys, persistent feelings. Persistent feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and loss of interest in previously enjoyable activities. Alright? Hindi yung nalungkot ka lang, nasad ka lang, depressed ka na. That is not true. That is not equivalent. So I hope I'm making myself clear when I say it has to be persistent in terms so that it can be considered a depression. Sadness, being down, miss ko lang siya, does not mean you are depressed, right? So students, please keep that in mind, or careerists. This is now the third. Now what? So kanina sinabi natin what? This pandemic is bringing us mental imbalance. So what? It is affecting our thinking well-being, and it's affecting our emotional well-being. uh, that is what is happening. We cannot change that. But the third question of the adapt, now what can you do? What can we do? Now look at this slide, and I always say I would like us to approach this from what I call an ecosystem approach. I know very well the question that was posted: what can students such as yourselves do to thrive and succeed in the new normal? Diba? So, ano ba yung pwede namin gawin? What can we do, Coach Tina? What is it that we can do within our power? And yes, something will have to be from your end. But I always want to emphasize this. To address mental health issues, we need to be able to approach it from an ecosystem standpoint. And students, let me call you proactive students, your ecosystem is your online school environment and your study from home environment. No? Each of these three players have a role in bringing forward better mental health. Let's look at the first player, online school environment. What can students do to thrive? And I hope there are some teachers or guidance counselors in this meeting room that we are in right now. Initiate a virtual social environment to foster better mental well-being and quality of life amongst your students. Go for virtual office hours, no? So when I say virtual office hours, really be available for your students. Sorry for the items, no? Hindi pala na correct the numbers. First, turn teachers into team coaches. What do I mean? They facilitate personal growth, not only teach knowledge, so that they stay relevant. What? Let me further explain that. What is it, if I am a student, what is it that the books and the internet and all the social media resources that I have readily available for me cannot teach me when it comes to knowledge? Nothing. Everything can be learned from there. Therefore, for teachers to stay relevant in the lives of their students, it's very important for them to pivot their value add into that teacher-student relationship. Become team coaches. Become coaches to your students. No, it's not only about teaching them the knowledge, because they can read that. Especially now, you actually can facilitate their personal growth by keeping connected with them and establishing that connection and communication. Second item, turn guidance counselors into an active group process facilitators and catalyst of school-family life blending. When I say catalyst of school-family life blending, they now pivot their value at their new normal customers. Who are their new normal customers? Unfortunately, it's not just the students. When it was the old normal, students were the customers of the guidance counselors. Now, their customers, and this is a personal point of view, is not only the students, it's the entire family. It's blending that school family life. No, because realistically, we have ported what we call school to the home of each and every student inside the country or around the world. No. The third actually is to go beyond diplomas and certificates. Everything can be learned from online learning. No, the students have access to everything far beyond what we can imagine. But what the schools can really give, which the online learning cannot give, is that particular certificate and diploma coming from LaSalle, that certificate and diploma coming from UP. That prestigious diploma is something that only the school can give. No. Thus, go beyond diplomas and certificates, give students the opportunity to find meaning
in their study via active involvement in local and national worthy causes. So entice your students to be able to get involved. They don't need to be physically present in that particular drive, no, but they can be involved because it's still virtual at this time. So that's actually just 1/3 of the ecosystem. Let's look at another 1/3 of the ecosystem, which is what we call study from home environment. And if connect with the learners, and this is more for parents and guardians, connect with the learners, go beyond tuition fees, providing the latest gadgets and devices, because we give that to our children, no? Pivot our role from providers to journey partners. Right. Study is a journey. It's not a one-time deal. Sometimes they fail, sometimes they commit mistakes. It's their own journey. We can only partner as parents. Have periodic dialogues with learners. It's not always about the grades, but how they are adapting to the new normal. And please notice my choice of word. It's adapting. It's not coping. If the students such as yourselves are still in the coping mode, there is something wrong. It's really a situation of adapting to the new normal. When you are coping, you are reactive. When you are adapting, you are proactive in addressing the new situation. Share your own adjustments as parents and guardians, wins, even challenges, and your resolve to overcome this. Meaning, even parents have their own journey, and we're not perfect. We are vulnerable, and vulnerability is a strength. Allow our college students to understand and to hear that, because you will be surprised. It's a tremendous understanding that these college students such as yourselves have. The last is help the kids surround themselves with progressive thinkers and positive influencers to enrich their character, not only their competence. In the new normal, it's not gonna be just a game of skills and competence, of intelligence and intellectual horsepower. It's gonna be a game of character building, of going for your values, and how do I now sustain this difficult arrangement, this difficult life in the pandemic situation, you know, and arise from the challenges. So that's why it's very, very important that the college students understand it from that perspective. So the online school environment, the study from home environment, where your teachers, guidance counselors, your parents, and your guardians will be key players, and they have a significant role. Now, the main answer to this now what question of what can students do to thrive and succeed in the new normal is actually in the proactive student. And if we will click for the proactive student, find meaning in school online activities beyond your academics. Beyond academics, no? Find that meaning. Get involved in school online organizations, and learn to pay the goodness that you have received forward. When a student is able to see and adapt to the new normal, that this is not just about me, this is about the people around me, this is about me and the people around me, and the citizens around me, not only my immediate family, then the perspective and the learning becomes bigger and broader. Socially integrate yourself, students, with people, teams with similar hobbies, interests, and advocacies. Now, you will win from that angle, because it's something that you enjoy. It's something that would enrich you. Now, I didn't place it here, but this is something that is equally helpful to me, my own practice. Read, understand areas that are not within your own sphere. You know, If you are a psychologist, my background is psychology, read something else outside of psychology. Now I'm understanding a lot about railways organization. And so it allows you to broaden your perspective. The last actually is initiate dialogues with your counselors and trusted advisors. Remember the slide on online school environment wherein the teachers and the guidance counselors are pivoting, hopefully will pivot their role into more value adding to you as a student. Do respond, initiate dialogues with them, your counselors and trusted advisors, because they are equally adjusting into this new normal. And it's important that you respond and co-create that new normal with them. So those are the three, medyo, it's a bit lengthy, no? What can students do to thrive and succeed in the new normal? It's an ecosystem approach. You all have your own role in the relationship. And what can you do? And if I would leave the proactive student anything, I want to leave you with this four important things. Try to strike that balance in terms of developing body, mind, soul, or spirit, and then the social interaction. What do I mean by body, body and mind? Move, be agile, no? There's a certain hormone that gets activated when we exercise, and it's a happy hormone, endorphin. I think that's an endorphin hormone. And if we continuously and systematically exercise, no, then that particular hormone continuously gets activated, and we become happier in our life, no? Be agile. Don't stick to just one routine, no, in terms of developing your body. Check out different ways. Check out different groups that can influence you progressively to address your body. Second is the mind. Be digital smart. What do I mean? And I'd like us to pause here. In the digital environment, everything, all information is available to you guys. All information, no? Coming from different sources. All this information are there, but the discernment on, will I absorb this? What does this mean to me? Or will I just let it, okay, thank you, I was able to read that. Sometimes social media can also affect our mental hygiene, no? Our mental health. So be very discerning as to what you will sift. You call that content curation. You need to be able to curate what is important and significant to you. Not all you read or hear from social media is applicable to you as a person. So that's on you, how you will go about it. The third angle that I want you to take a look at is your soul or your spirit. No, net of being connected to God, strengthen your virtues and character, as I've mentioned earlier. If this is a normal situation, we can practically depend on our skills and our knowledge, no, our competence. But this is an unusual. We are in the new normal. And in unusual situations, skills and competence will not bring us to where we want to go. It is our virtues and our character that will sustain us to where we want to go. Keep that in mind, guys. The last actually is our social, our emotional, our connectedness, no? As a proactive student, no, try to build psychological resilience, no? Meaning you don't immediately get depressed or anxious when you first recognize that this is affecting me. That is the what, no? This is affecting me, lengthily. So what? This is now what is happening to me. But always remember, that you have a now what? Now what will I do? And that's where your psychological resiliency would come in. No? That's why I label this proactive student. You're not an ordinary student. No? Ordinary people or ordinary student may just allow the environment to influence them. What's different with proactive students? You are the one trying to influence your own environment and you're creating your own journey.
If there's anything that I want you to take away from this video, two things. First, approach mental health from an ecosystem standpoint, meaning not only the proactive student, but also their online environment and the home environment, which now serves as the school of these students. Second, and equally important, approach mental health from a holistic standpoint, meaning it's not only the body of the student, they need to be active, not only the soul of the student, they need to be connected to the Lord and build their character. This is the best time to build the character of people. Their mind. As a student, they need to know how to be digitally smart and to sift and curate what they see from social media, which really are true and is of value to them. And then the last one is their social emotional. For the students to really thrive and take care of their mental health in this pandemic time, allow them to find meaning in life, not only for themselves, for their families, for their community, but also for the country. So hopefully you picked up something today. If this has been very helpful for you, please give us a like and please share this video. If you have comments, whether that's a leadership question or some suggestions, do let us know. And please click the notification button so that you'll be the first one to know. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye-bye!